Good morning, everyone. It's Ben Buckner and Dan Bossy with Ag Resource Company in Chicago. It's Friday, April 25th. Looked in what's been a pretty choppy week in choppy, but I think firm fashion today. We've got kind of lots of news happening in the background. And really, it's still this battle between what appears to be decent planting progress in the U.S. for spring row crops. We think the U.S. corn crop on Sunday will be about 25% planted. Soybeans 20% planted, just a bit ahead of longer-term averages. And also, I think that market's kind of starting to realize there's limited odds of Midwest drought, at least in the medium term, if perhaps too much rain in places like Arkansas, Southern Illinois, Tennessee, and Kentucky, those big soft red wheat areas. So kind of all weather, all trade policy still. That's something we've all been waiting for is, some sign that there's been progress with one of the, 150 trade deals bilaterally the U.S. is working on. And I think today, importantly for the ag markets, is we might be seeing hints of success between negotiators in some fairly large markets. So, Dan, what do you think, and can you break down what you're hearing?
No, I think that's right, Ben. We've all been waiting for tariffs to produce something, and again, our how should I say it? Our ability to wait is limited in the volatility of these markets. But that being said, there's some countries that are getting close to deals being announced, and one of those key countries is India. One market the U.S. has wanted to open has been India. You see here this morning that Secretary of Treasury Basse is indicating that the Indian market is maybe one of the first here to go. South Korea, Japan are other countries that are looking very promising. And this is big news. Of course, the U.S. farmers always wanted to have an angle at the Indian market. It's 1.4 billion people. It's the largest country in the world in terms of mouths to feed. Their income is increasing, and they're relatively young. So this looks a lot like China back in the 1990s, and this is why it's so exciting, at least potentially for American agriculture. As we think about commodities that would be first to go in India, and the administration is making a big stand and saying, yes, we want to open the Indian ag market. Now, it is closed today because of GMO restrictions on corn and soybeans. India also has a 40% tariff on wheat imports just because they want to protect their 170 million Indian farmers. That said, we are just about done with the harvest in India. We're making good strides, let's say. Normally, we make a low here, as this graphic indicates, in the Indian cash market in the late April, May timeframe, and then prices usually tick higher to the end of the year. I would also mention, in terms of India, as we start to look at it, that its cash price is extremely high relative to world values. This morning, wheat in India is priced at over $8 a bushel, and the import margin is about $2.75, or about $100 a metric ton. So a lot of profitability. And the Indian market's been sitting out there, if you will, kind of by itself now for several years as stocks decline and the opportunities we think are stepping forward. Now, India is an importer of both SRW and some hard classes. It all depends on price spreads. Today, the spread is such that I believe it would be soft red winter. So this is a balance sheet of India. And again, on these presentations, we're moving through fast enough. I don't want to spend a lot of time, but notice that we don't have India taking any imports this year, but their domestic demand at 113 million metric tons is virtually the same as production. So we have ending stocks falling to 7 million metric tons for a population of 1.425 billion people. That's just too small. So we think the odds are pretty good that India will be importing wheat, maybe somewhere between 2 to 5 million metric tons in the new crop year. Hopefully, a lot of this comes from the United States relative to tariffs, but we'll see. But if the U.S. got even 1 million metric tons of demand from India for SRW, that would be a 30% increase in terms of our export profile. So a really, really important deal for U.S. wheat producers and, of course, traders looking forward. Lastly, we'll talk, as Ben's mentioned, just a little bit here about planting weather. And we look at where we're at. It's going to be a hodgepodge. We are looking at the graphic to the left. This is temperatures over the next week. They are going to be warmer than normal. Most areas 4 to 6 degrees warmer than normal. And then you can see that line of heavy rain that Ben talked about from really Texas stretching into the Ohio Valley. There's going to be some problems there, but right to the north, there's going to be opportunities. So when you think about planting progress, this is not the worst spring that I've seen in my 45-year career. I think there will be opportunities, and some farmers I'm visiting with have already got their soybeans in the ground and are now somewhere between 20 and 40% done with corn. So they are making progress. That Illinois, Northern Illinois, Iowa, Nebraska, Kansas area should make good progress along with the Dakotas. That's what we have for everybody today, Ben. We need to keep this short so we keep you up to date, but nonetheless, this is going to be a key week, I think, as trade announcements come forward and we start to talk about India, South Korea, Japan, and what it means for U.S. ag imports.
Yeah, we've been watching India for a long time, and it's been the demand. You add 1 to 5 million tons every year to domestic wheat consumption. So they've been hanging on so far, but I think opening up that market would be pretty critical. We'll also see how short funds are of wheat in this afternoon's commitment of traders report. I think that's something else we'll take a look at the close. So yeah, stay tuned. I think it's going to be exciting. We'll see what the weekend news brings us, and be sure to check out the app, take a trial, get all in tune with our opening call Sunday night. It's going to be another big week of research next week. So thanks for watching. Dan, you got anything else?
No, I just want to wish people a good weekend as we think forward. Trade is going to collide with weather, and it's going to give us lots of volatility. So there's opportunity. So that's what we need to be focused on. And again, the markets are becoming more complex, Ben, where trade and weather, it's not simple as just looking at a weather map anymore and deciding what to do. There's going to be a lot of complexity going forward.
Sounds exactly right. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. All the best in the markets today, and we'll talk to you next week.